Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Gamer's Thoughts discussion. And I'm going to be talking about something I know that a lot of people are talking about, that a bunch of people went and jumped the gun on. And it's because I decided to wait and look for more information and follow the trails that happened to be about, that I'm actually going to be able to provide correct information that a lot of the bigger gaming news sites could not provide because they didn't actually do their jobs and investigate the story that they decided to run. So again, I'm on the side of waiting for more information to come out, waiting to see how things play out before I decide to open my big ass mouth. And I do that with reason now, because there are multiple times I have jumped the gun where I've been horribly wrong, and then I've had to go back and go over and say, oh no, that didn't actually happen. Or I was incorrect on this detail. Which I happily do, but I'm noticing that not a lot of gaming publications are doing that, and this information is days old. So, everyone's up in arms about the Nintendo takedown of Dolphin on Steam. Well, it turns out Nintendo didn't quite do that. There was no DMCA done. They did mention to Valve that Dolphin broke some DMCA regulations, but Valve contacted Nintendo about it themselves. Valve contacted Nintendo about it. Asked what they thought. Nintendo said their piece. Valve took it down. And this is coming from the treasurer, or the former treasurer, soon to be former treasurer, of the group behind Dolphin. So we had a bunch of people running to jump the gun and talk massive shit, and I'm guessing what I'm going to say isn't really going to track very far because people are going to ignore it. But people went to jump the gun and say this and that and the other without waiting to see how things played out, and that has happened at least 7 times this year alone in gaming media. This year alone. At least the number of times I've been involved this year alone. So, again, I'm just going to say, let's stop jumping the gun. Let's wait and see and wait for more information to come out. Now, I know people aren't going to do that. Hell, I may not do that depending upon the situation. But I'm at least going to attempt. Because I so badly wanted to jump in on this one and say my piece. But then I was like, hold on, Dre, hold on. And I'm glad I listened to myself. So it was Valve that reached out to Nintendo and said, you know what, this reflects your product, so we're going to contact you. Which I think, honestly, that's actually a pretty stand-up thing to do. They reached out to Nintendo and said, hey, look, this is emulating your shit. What do you think? Now, obviously, Nintendo's going to say, yeah, take that shit the fuck down. I mean, and I want to tell people, Nintendo is not against emulation. If they were against emulation, the NSO's game console services could not exist. The virtual console could not have existed. They're not against emulation. They're against pirating, which emulation is often used for. That's the difference. That's the slight bit of context that people don't ever fucking throw in there, and it annoys me. It annoys me because if you're saying Nintendo's against emulation, then they cannot have emulators on their own platform. They literally can't. And that would also mean that any game any collection that does any sort of emulation, they would not allow released on their platform. So stop saying Nintendo is against emulation. They're not against emulation. They're against piracy. That's what they're against, not emulation itself. And I would also wonder, like, people, I'm just curious, and I've probably asked this question before, but if Nintendo games are so bad, Nintendo is so horrible, why did you pirate their games in the first place? Because whether you know it or not, even though you are not directly supporting them and you are doing something illegal intentionally, you're also bringing more attention to them. So maybe you don't help them financially, but you still add to their stock. If you want Nintendo to go away, and I mean, and I've said this plenty of times before, if you want something to go away, you do not spend your time talking about it. You don't talk about it if you want it gone. This is not a difficult concept to understand. This is not something that is hard to fathom. If you wish to have something disappear, you take attention away from it, not provide it to it. You don't provide attention to the thing that you want to go away. That is counterproductive. I guess because gaming media was able to pull it off once, they figured, okay, well, we can do this over and over again, and it should work. It doesn't work. It does not work that way. Because the more attention you draw to something, the more people look into that thing, and the more information comes out about it, and then people can actually decide. But I am happy that someone from the Dolphin team, someone that was a part of that project, actually came out and said something like, hey, Nintendo didn't do this. Or they didn't hunt it down and say, yo, take it off the market. Valve reached out to them directly themselves. And there's reason that Valve did that. Because there could be a potential relationship further down the line. And on top of that, Valve has some of their games on Nintendo's platform. So they are a partner with them. Whether people want to understand it or not. And when you're a partner with somebody and your business partner has something that they do not like that could potentially ruin your working relationship with them, you are going to talk to them about it. You're going to consider it. And let's just say at some point Nintendo does loosen the reins on putting their games on PC. Let's just say potentially they do. Who do you think is going to be one of the first platforms they go to? Valve. So Valve would be smart to say, hey, look, we're not going to have this up here without their permission. We're not going to have this up here without their permission because this is their intellectual property. So we can't just go ahead and say, yo, hey, just slap it up there and everything's cool. So that's something to let sink in. That's something to think about. That's something to consider. Because Valve and Nintendo do have a working relationship with each other. No matter how small it may be right now, they do have a working relationship with each other. And that is something that you do not ignore. Especially with the amount of money that they could make off of Nintendo. Should they decide, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop Metroid Dread on Steam. We know Tears of the Kingdom just came out. Breath of the Wild is like several years old, but we'll go ahead and throw that on Steam so that you guys can have that legitimately. And that's probably Valve's play anyway. To try to be the platform to get Nintendo to put their stuff legitimately on PC. I mean, honestly, they could probably get like another fucking 10 million in sales on Breath of the Wild if they threw it on PC at $40. But that's my own personal speculation. I have no idea if that would actually happen that way. So just putting it out there. But it is something that they had to consider. It was something that they had to think about, being that they are partnered with Nintendo in some way, shape, or form. So people, long story short, even though I already said it at the beginning, Nintendo did not send in any sort of notice to have Dolphin taken down off of Steam. Valve made that decision themselves after contacting Nintendo about it. Then they contacted the Dolphin team and let them know that they would be taking it down off of Steam, that it would not be allowed to be up. So, if things change, that's wholeheartedly a different story. This is currently what is going on. But if it changes, it changes. It just depends on how things play out. But right now, that is the story. So, people, calm your nerves. It's not like y'all don't have a way to get Dolphin if you really truly wanted it in the first place. It's not like they took it down. They went after Dolphin directly and said, yo, this can't exist. There's a potential chance that could happen, but they haven't done it as of yet. And there may be reason for that. But that's the way things currently are. So, everybody cool your jets. Stop throwing and placing blame where you don't know where the blame should actually be placed. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for listening, and keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out, everybody.